Welcome back, students. Welcome to biology classes. Today we are going to see 11th science biology and we are going to resume the chapter 16, that is digestion and absorption. Today we are going to see about the absorption of the digested food. So absorption is the process by which nutrients pass from the alimentary canal into the blood and lymph through its mucous membrane, right? So the absorption is the process, right? So what happens in the absorption? So whatever nutrients which we are like intaking, or whatever nutrients which we are getting from the food, that all nutrients, they pass from the alimentary canal into the blood as well as the lymph. So all the nutrients are being poured into the blood and the lymph with the help of the mucous membrane, right? So the process of this occurrence of this process is known as absorption, right? Now amino acids, monosaccharide, fatty acids, glycerol, salts, vitamins, and water are to be absorbed. So these are the things which are needed to be absorbed by your body. So there are amino acids which further produce the proteins, right? Monosaccharides, they further they produce several complex structures, as well as it is responsible for imparting the energy to your body in the form of glucose. Then fatty acids, that is the lipid content, right, which is going to be splitted into two things, that is fatty acids and the glycerol. Then several salts are also you are getting from the food what you are intaking, right? Then several vitamins as well as the water. This all things are needed to be absorbed by your body, right? Now about 90% of the absorption occurs in small intestine and rest 10% in stomach, mouth and large intestine, right? So 90% of the absorption is occurring inside the small intestine, and 10% occurs in the stomach, mouth as well as the large intestine. And in large intestine, mainly the absorption of water takes place. Now, the passage of different absorbent depends upon concentration gradient for substances like glucose and amino acids and electrolytes. Now, see, the whatever nutrients are there, they are being passing from one medium to another medium, right? That is from the alimentary canal into the blood stream as well as the lymph, right? So the passage of the different types of absorbent, right, that is whatever nutrients are there, it depends upon the concentration gradient, right, of the substances like glucose, amino acid as well as electrolytes. So this all things should be balanced, right? Gradient means concentration gradient means everything should be balanced, right? That is the balancing of the alimentary canal should also be there, as well as the balancing in the bloodstream as well as lymph also should be proper in man, right? So that is the concentration gradient should be maintained in order, or like for several substances like glucose, amino acids as well as electrolytes, right? Now, like what type of absorption takes place in different types of organs, right? So starting with mouth. So in mouth, several drugs coming in contact with the mucosa of mouth and lower side of tongue are absorbed into the blood capillaries lining them, right? So whatever blood capillaries which are being present inside on the lower side of your tongue, right, if you are intaking any of the drugs, right, several drugs, right, which are coming in contact with your mucosa, that is whatever saliva is present in your mouth, right, then they are being absorbed by the blood capillaries which are present on the lower side of the tongue. So and they enter inside the blood stream. So this is the first absorption which is seen in the mouth. Second is the stomach. That in stomach, the absorption of water is taking place, as well as several simple sugars are also being absorbed, as well as the alcohol which is being uptaken, that is also being absorbed by your body and it enters inside the blood stream, right? Next is small intestine, where the glucose, fructose, see glucose and fructose, these two of them are isomers of each other, right? So they are structurally like normally glucose and fructose, they are the position of the like the position of the functional groups and everything is only changed, right? So the glucose, fructose, fatty acids, glycerol and amino acids, those all are being absorbed by the small intestine and it enters inside the bloodstream as well as the liver. So the small intestine is the major, like it is said to be the most important organ of the alimentary canal, which is responsible for the like more and more absorption which is taking place. And last but not the least, that is the large intestine, right? This is going to do the absorption of the water, right? So some water as well as some minerals as well as the drugs which takes place, right? So several drugs with like whatever drugs like whatever medications you are taking, right, those all are being sometimes, not all the drugs are being absorbed by the large intestine, but few of them are there that are absorbed by the large intestine, right? So water, minerals as well as some drugs are being absorbed by your large intestine. So these are the different organs which are responsible for different absorption at different time, right? So this was about the digestion as well as the absorption which is taking place in your body. Now we are going to see several disorders which are related to the digestive system. So first, the inflammation of intestinal tract due to bacterial infection, fungal infection, and parasitic infection caused by tapeworm, roundworm, threadworm, pinworms, right? So now when we are talking about the disorders, that is what kind of disease like are taking place, right? So the inflammation of intestinal tract, inflammation means four different types of symptoms are observed when we are talking about inflammation, right? So you feel redness, you feel hot or we can say warm, right? Then swelling is observed, right? So there are several symptoms of inflammation. So when the intestinal tract is being inflamed by any of the bacterial or fungal or parasitic infection, then this can be caused by tapeworm, right? Then roundworm as well as threadworm and sometimes pinworms also, right? So these are several causing organisms which are going to lead to several different types of infection, right? Mostly this tapeworm, roundworm, this all worms which are causing the infection or causing the inflammation of the intestinal tract, they are coming under the parasitic infection, right? Several different bacteria are also responsible for causing the any of the disorder of digestive system. Several fungus is also responsible for causing you any of the disease related to your digestive system. So first is we are going to see is about the jaundice, right? So you might be or like already knowing about jaundice. It is a disease of the liver, right? So in liver, this disease takes place, and in jaundice, your skin as well as the eyes, they turn yellow due to the large quantities of bilirubin pigments in the extracellular fluid. So what happens in jaundice, your eyes, your skin, everything becomes yellowish in color, right? They turn yellow, and this is the most main symptom which is observed to detect whether a person is suffering from jaundice, right? So when a person is if you look at them and if they are like looking at you, and if your skin as well as eyes as like and other things are yellow in color, then you can see that that person may be suffering from jaundice, right? And this can be due to the large quantities of bilirubin pigments. So the bilirubin pigments which are present in the liver, right, that if that increases, that at that time the jaundice takes place, right? Second is vomiting, right? So vomiting is the ejection of stomach through stomach content through the mouth. So whatever you are eating, and if it is swallowing down till the stomach, that is peristalsis process, right? And when the from the same stomach, when that food is coming revert back, or it is reversing itself and it is coming out from your mouth, that is what reverse peristalsis, and that is also known as vomiting. And this reflex action is controlled by the vomit center and the medulla. So there is presence of a vomit center in your medulla, that is the brain, and this reflex action is being controlled by that vomit center. The third is diarrhea, where you might be knowing about this also. That is frequent the defection of liquid phases is known as diarrhea, and it reduces the absorption of food. So this diarrhea is responsible for reduction of the absorption which is taking place in your body, as well as more and more amount of water is being released out, right? So your body is going to dehydrate, right? And all the waste material from your body is coming out in the form of liquid form, right? And this is the reason that the absorption of water which is needed to be taken place in the large intestine is not occurring. So as the reabsorption of water is not taking place, for this reason all the feces is liquidy in nature, and this leads to the diarrhea, right? And this reduces the absorption of the food, right? So the absorption mechanism becomes lower, right? Next is the constipation, right? So constipation, in this the feces are retained within the rectum as the bowel movements occur irregular. See, bowel movements, that is, bowel means whatever feces, whatever waste material are being stored in the rectum, right? That is said to be the bowel, right? So the bowel movements, that is the coming out of the feces or fecus material, right? That should be occurred in a proper regular manner, right? But if that is not occurring in a regular manner, then it can lead to the constipation, that is the stool becomes comparatively harder, and when it comes out there may be some rashes, or there may be some injuries which can be observed, and this can also lead to several times if the roughness is produced at that time, what happens, the blood is also, or we can say small amount of bleeding is also occurring. So that leads to the constipation. And the last one is the indigestion, that is the incomplete digestion, right? So when you are eating more and more, right, like sometimes what happens, like if you are having least amount of hunger, right, and if you are eating more, then what happens is your body is not able to cope up with your like digestive system, that is whatever you have eaten, right? Sometimes even several food is there which are having several pathogens which does not allow the proper digestion to be taking place, and this is the reason that you feel that the digestion is not occurring properly. So that is indigestion, right? So, and it can be accompanied by one or more following symptoms. So there may be not only one symptom, there may be so many symptoms of this disease, or we can say this disorder. So first is pain. You feel pain in the stomach, then nausea, then vomiting, then heartburn, as well as acid regurgitation, right? That is what, like acidity which you are feeling in your stomach, that is more or increased levels of the HCl in your stomach, as well as accumulation of gas and escape of gas from the stomach, right? So these are all the symptoms which are observed in the indigestion, right? So these are 5 different disorders which are there when we are talking about the digestive system. So this is all about today's topic, and here we complete this chapter, and I hope you are very clear with today's topic, and I hope to see you again. Thank you.